Hayashi Megumi was described as the prettiest girl in school and was known as the queen of the high school. One day, while Yamamoto was working at a grocery store and handing her some items, he noticed a mark on her hand. He wondered what it was, but she hesitated to explain it to him. This scene reminded him of a few hours earlier when he had been cleaning tiles with a brush at the store. As he cleaned, he realized it was the train station's floor, and after finishing, he felt satisfied seeing the clean surface. He thought cleaning was really amazing. The more effort put in, the cleaner it became, rewarding the hard work, unlike people who could sometimes be irrational and unfair. Checking the time, he noticed he was quite late. He was working the late-night shift because it paid better than the day shift. Since the convenience store was located near a residential area, they rarely had customers at night. Sitting at his post, Yamamoto felt bored. Even the night shift was calmer than usual. If the store continued like this, he wondered how it would survive. Suddenly, a customer arrived. A girl who called out his name and said it had been a long time since they last met. Seeing her, Yamamoto was shocked to recognize her as Hayashi and was surprised to learn she was also living in Tokyo. Hayashi asked if Yamamoto lived nearby, to which he replied affirmatively and asked about her whereabouts. She gave a brief answer that she was living nearby as well. Then she asked which university he attended. Yamamoto returned the question, and she said she was going to K University. Yamamoto commented that it was impressive and that she had always been smart. He realized she was just making small talk, and although it had only been 4 months since their graduation, she had changed a lot, but nothing like this had ever happened while they were still in school. Yamamoto then recalled a memory from their school days. He was sitting next to her when he saw her yawn and drop her eraser. He watched as she didn't pick it up and wondered whether he should ignore it or retrieve it for her. If he didn't pick it up, she would probably complain later. So he decided to pick it up and noticed she gave him a strange look. He placed the eraser back on her desk, but she still didn't seem pleased. He wondered what was wrong with her. Yamamoto knew that Hayashi had a very pretty face and was popular with many friends. Many guys had confessed their feelings to her, and Yamamoto had even once seen a boy confessing his love to her, only to be turned down. Yamamoto thought he would never understand what people saw in her. At that time, Hayashi had only laughed long and arrogantly, wondering who he was to her. She carried an attitude that earned her the nickname, the Arrogant Queen. Yamamoto stopped reminiscing, thinking he had no good memories of her and that it was better not to get involved with her. As part of his job, he asked if she wanted a bag, and when she agreed, he noticed a scar on her wrist. Curious, he asked about it, but she did not reply and quickly hid it. Yamamoto realized something was not normal, especially since she was wearing long sleeves in the middle of summer, which made him suspect she was hiding something serious. Eventually, she revealed that her boyfriend at home had hit her and that they were living together. Yamamoto wondered if that was too fast a relationship. She gave him an arrogant look and told him he said such things too often. Then she left. Yamamoto wondered if he had upset her again, as she was always someone who disliked him, but he kept thinking about her words that she had been hit by her boyfriend. He worried that she had shown him a vulnerable side and that if she returned home, she might be hurt again. Yamamoto called out to her, offering her to stay at his place for the night. She just glared at him. He asked her not to look at him like that because she was scary and assured her he had no intentions of anything else. If she didn't trust him, he said he could even give her a spare key and crash at an internet cafe. He urged her not to go home that night, or at least to talk to her parents about returning home. She then revealed that her parents had disowned her. Yamamoto was shocked to hear this. She explained that when she told her parents she was moving in with her boyfriend, they cut her off, which was also why she dropped out of college. Feeling bad for her, Yamamoto suggested again that she should not go home and that he would bring the spare key and text her his address. She replied that she wouldn't need the key and would wait until his shift ended. Yamamoto noticed her hands trembling. Yamamoto suggested that she read any magazine she wanted, mentioning that his shift would end in just 1 hour. He felt that she was not truly surrounded by people who loved her. After that, they both went to his place, which was very clean. Yamamoto invited her to sit down while he went to make tea. As he prepared the tea, he found it surreal that she was sitting in his room. Even though it had happened naturally, it was still an unusual situation, and he had no plans to do anything inappropriate. After serving her the tea, she said she couldn't believe she now owed him a favor. Yamamoto replied that he did not see it that way, and had only done what anyone else would do. She mentioned that the timing worked out well since they both needed time to cool off, adding that her boyfriend was currently in a very bad mood. She explained that he did not often hit her, only when work went badly or something else was wrong, and that she needed to support him better now. Yamamoto commented that this was not something she would have said back in high school. She told him to shut up, insisting that people had changed. Yamamoto thought it best to give her space, assuming it was a bad day for her. If that was true, he decided he should not send her back home. Instead, he suggested she stay at his place for the night so they could help each other when needed. She remarked that Yamamoto was saying things she hadn't heard from him since high school. Later, she agreed to take a bath and asked if he had any other clothes she could wear. He admitted he only had boys' clothes. While he was watching TV, she went to bathe, and he thought it felt strange, but that he should change as well. After some time, she came out wearing shorts and a t-shirt, commenting that his bathroom was very clean. Yamamoto was surprised to see that her arms and legs were darkened with injuries. She revealed that her situation was really bad and that her boyfriend was hopeless, sometimes becoming very serious. Yamamoto remarked that her toothbrushes looked very old, but she was not interested in discussing that. Instead, she wondered what she should do now. Yamamoto understood that she did not want him to get involved, but he suggested that she should not have to be with someone like that. She asked what he even knew about her situation. Yamamoto replied that even if he didn't know all the details, it was his opinion whether she wanted to hear it or not. He warned that if something ever happened to her and people asked why he did not stop it, he would be the one to blame. And he was saying all this for her own sake. Yamamoto mentioned that Hayashi's boyfriend also hit her when he was stressed, and despite that, she still thought about supporting him. He reflected that such selflessness was rare and not many people could live like that. Because of this, Yamamoto admitted that he used to hate her, feeling she was just being used by that boy. He even said that if the boy never thanked her and tried to ruin her, Yamamoto would not stop her if she wanted to leave him. When she began to cry, Yamamoto wondered if he had gone too far with his words. He told her everything reflexively, and it seemed that Hayashi was upset with him, but he felt there was nothing more he could do. She said that the situation really sucked and that she was getting sleepy. Yamamoto suggested she use his bed while he would sleep on the floor. As she lay down, he told her to take her time to think, and that there was no need to rush. She remarked that he sounded like a monk, which explained why he never seemed to understand such things. Yamamoto wondered if that was the reason he was still single. She lay down on the floor to sleep, thinking there was nothing more he could do. However, she suddenly asked if he wanted to do that, which confused him as he did not understand what she meant or if she was teasing him. Unexpectedly, she came over and lay down hugging him. Yamamoto wondered what he was even doing. She noticed he was still awake and touched his leg with her own, saying it was only a hug. He thought to himself that no one told her she could hug him and that she needed permission for that. He felt that something between them was off at that moment. Then she asked if he was still a virgin. When he denied it, she called him a liar, saying he was bluffing, which she found somewhat cute. He told her to shut up and gently grabbed her hand. She began to explain that her boyfriend had not been like that at the start. He had gone along with everything she wanted. However, once they started living together, he had changed. He would try to hit her whenever he was in a bad mood. His feelings towards her had become very confused, and he would say that she didn't even earn any money. When she offered to work, he questioned what a high school student could possibly do, which she found quite funny. She then asked Yamamoto to just go to sleep. Yamamoto remarked that Hayashi had been through a lot, and as he realized this, he fell silent. She asked him what was wrong, but he kept telling her to ignore it and try to sleep. She insisted that he tell her, calling him hopeless. Yamamoto wondered who she thought he was. She moved closer and said she hadn't heard that kind of concern in a long time. Since then, they had been living together. The next morning, Yamamoto woke up wondering why he was sleeping on the floor. Then he noticed Hayashi sleeping beside him and understood the reason for his position. He observed that she was still asleep and thought about how much she had changed since before. As he went to cook breakfast, Hayashi woke up. Yamamoto asked if her body was hurting now. She greeted him with a good morning and said her whole body was sore. Yamamoto reminded her that he had already told her to use the bed. She got up and told him there was no need to make a fuss. She asked if he could even cook, and he assured her that the food was already ready, asking her to wait a little. After he served the food, Hayashi found it really amazing. Yamamoto was using his phone and thanked her, to which she teased him about having terrible manners. He put his phone aside, thinking that since he lived alone, he tended to use it often. After she finished eating, she thanked him. Yamamoto admitted that he was just following instructions, and she told him not to ruin her compliment. She then tried to wash the dishes, but Yamamoto refused, saying she was a guest. She insisted it was repayment for the food and shelter, but Yamamoto shouted that it was unnecessary. She then asked if he had a hair tie. He said he only had a rubber band. She used the rubber band, but mentioned it hurt when tying hair with such bands. Yamamoto said he also had plastic hair strings if she preferred to use those. She agreed, tied her hair, and went to clean the dishes. Yamamoto realized that at least Hayashi seemed relaxed there. After finishing their work, they both sat down to talk, and Yamamoto tried to understand everything that had happened to her. She admitted that she was scared she might regret making the wrong choice. Yamamoto advised her to try to look at her situation objectively and then decide what she truly wanted to do. He told her that if she thought things through carefully, she would avoid regrets later. She wondered how he could be so sure about that. Yamamoto suggested that sometimes people get caught up in their emotions and lose clarity. Hayashi responded that saying she would never regret something seemed impossible. Yamamoto denied this and reassured her that she would be fine because things were simple. He was there to support her. She could not quite understand what he meant. He told her that if she was afraid to decide alone, she should talk to someone she trusted. She remarked that Yamamoto almost sounded dependable, but he denied it, admitting that he was just being selfish by pushing his opinions on her. She noted that Yamamoto always spoke in a roundabout way. Yamamoto then asked her to tell him about her relationship. Afterwards, she told him everything that had happened to her since she returned to Tokyo. Although it was terrifying to hear, he noticed that she was still smiling and mentioned that her boyfriend was not angry all the time and had even apologized. Yamamoto explained that domestic violence often followed a cycle, where periods of violence would be followed by regret or self-loathing, and then a phase where things would seem to improve. She understood that Yamamoto knew a lot about the matter. Yamamoto said that while she was doing the dishes, he had looked into the situation and asked if she had spoken to anyone else about it. He learned that he was the first person she had confided in and inquired about her phone. She revealed that she didn't have a phone because her boyfriend had told her she didn't need one as long as she had him. Yamamoto wondered if her boyfriend had broken her phone, to which she replied that she had lost all her contacts and that her boyfriend wouldn't allow her to get a new phone either, which was why she felt completely trapped. Yamamoto thought that he could at least tell himself that he had tried to stop her just to ease his conscience. But then he changed his mind and resolved that no matter what it took, he would make sure she broke up with her boyfriend, even if she ended up hating him for it. She said that even though her boyfriend hated her at times, he also had a sweet side where he became so cute that she hesitated to break up with him. Talking to Yamamoto helped her see things from a new perspective, and she felt that he was right. She felt that her boyfriend was using her to satisfy his possessiveness. Yamamoto mentioned that if she decided to take that step, the next thing would be to let him suggest something. He explained how abusers tend to cling tightly to their victims and expressed doubt that her boyfriend would accept a breakup easily. He warned that there was a chance her boyfriend might retaliate. That was why he proposed a plan to make her boyfriend want nothing to do with her. She didn't understand at first and wondered if Yamamoto was planning to confront or beat him. Yamamoto replied that would be too extreme and that first of all, there were practical matters they needed to take care of, such as going to the hospital and the police station. He suggested that they should report the charges against her boyfriend. He added that if the boyfriend was under police custody, it would be safer for her since he wouldn't be able to come near her. She hesitated and wondered if it was really okay for them to go that far. Yamamoto agreed and explained that even her parents had disowned her because of the boyfriend, which made her feel completely lost and abandoned. On top of that, her phone had been destroyed. All these things made him want to protect her. But despite everything, she did not want to involve the police. She expressed some concern, saying that leaving someone and filing charges were two different things. Yamamoto agreed that they didn't necessarily have to go to the police and reminded her that he was just someone she was talking to. Even if he thought it was the right move, it was natural for her to feel different. He asked if he could make one small request, that she take what he said seriously, and if she didn't like something, she should express it clearly in a more effective way. She mentioned that he could be a bit nicer, to which he wondered what kind of impression he was giving her. He then presented some possible options and suggested that she stay at his house for a few days. She found the idea pathetic and thought that he might have bad intention. He was shocked and assured her that he hadn't thought of such things. He told her that if she wanted, she could leave anytime. He also said that her boyfriend was probably out there acting like a maniac, searching for her at that moment. Because of that, he advised her not to leave the apartment for a while, which was why he had brought her there. He mentioned there were certain things she wouldn't need to do if she didn't want to, and wondered if she was misinterpreting his intention. She felt as though he wanted to use her body but told him it was okay since he was helping her. He then realized she was misunderstanding him. She again questioned if he wanted to use her body, but he asked her not to talk nonsense. He said that if she was okay with a one-night stand but didn't want to do it regularly, then it was different. He thought she was overthinking everything. He advised her not to agree to anything she didn't want to do. When she asked what he meant, Yamamoto pointed at her scar and said she needed to go to the hospital. She then understood what he was suggesting and agreed. Yamamoto also thought he might understand how the twin thought, since the full medical report had arrived, which helped him comprehend the situation better. He guessed she was still holding back because of her boyfriend, and wondered if it was easy for her to just let go. But since it was clear she had no intention of pressing charges at that moment, he simply commented that her outfit looked very good. They went shopping for clothes, and Yamamoto asked if she wanted anything. She hesitated because of money concerns, but Yamamoto assured her that he had some money and wouldn't buy everything for her. She replied that she would definitely pay him back, but couldn't promise when. Yamamoto said that was perfectly fine. Later that night, while she was sleeping on the bed, they went to buy undergarments for her. The next morning, Yamamoto was sitting on the floor feeling sore. He decided to buy a futon since he still had time before his classes and planned to do some morning cleaning. While cooking, he thought it would be better to let her sleep peacefully while she was at his house. So he prepared a meal for her and left, feeling that skipping his morning cleaning routine didn't feel quite right. When Yamamoto returned, he brought the futon, thinking he would finally be able to sleep comfortably that night. As he approached his house, he smelled the food and announced that he was back. Hayashi was preparing a meal and asked if he liked hamburger steak. He replied that she didn't have to wait and cook for him, as he could have made dinner himself when he got back. She insisted that he at least let her do it. Yamamoto complimented her, saying she was really good at cooking. She revealed that she had plenty of practice and then asked if he liked hamburger steak or not. He gave a hesitant answer, saying he didn't hate it. After finishing his tasks, Yamamoto noticed that she wanted to talk to him after dinner. They sat down to eat together, and Yamamoto found the meal delicious. When he offered to clean the dishes afterward, she refused, saying she wanted to move around a bit and take care of the chores. He wondered if she planned to go out that day and thought it sounded like something a possessive boyfriend would forbid her from doing. As he looked at her, she asked if there was a problem. He denied having any and told her it was her choice whether to follow his advice or not. However, he cautioned that going out would be risky and reckless for her, and he wasn't sure how to make her understand. She shouted that she didn't want to understand. After a while, she came to sit beside him and apologized for being stubborn. Yamamoto denied that she was at fault, saying he was the one who had messed up. He thought he should have asked if she wanted to handle the shopping herself instead of just taking it over. She told him he shouldn't apologize. Yamamoto wondered where she would get the money for beef. She explained that she had used the little money left from her boyfriend and had stopped by the supermarket, worried that if he found out, he would be angry. Yamamoto did not get mad, but she told him that her boyfriend used to get angry at her over everything and would find any excuse to hit her when in a bad mood. She didn't reveal how badly she had been treated, but mentioned that she thought if she cooked enough for him, maybe he would forget to scold her, and she might avoid trouble for going out. Yamamoto wondered what was so important that she was willing to risk going out. She replied that this was exactly what she wanted to talk about, that she wanted to get a part-time job. Yamamoto thought that might be a good idea but felt it wasn't the right time. He asked if it was really urgent for her to start working. She said that if she didn't get a job, she would become a burden on him. She wanted to pay back the money he had spent on her, but wasn't sure when she could do that. She added that in a few months, she would probably burn through his savings and didn't want to keep being a burden to him. Yamamoto then understood how she felt and realized that if something happened, it might already be too late. He told her that there was nothing else to do, and that if her boyfriend found her, it would be over. Yamamoto thought there were many ways to avoid such risks, so he wondered why she was talking like that. Yamamoto didn't understand at first how simple it was to avoid risk. Just staying in the apartment until things calmed down was all she had to do. Yet, she also understood this and still put herself in danger to do the job. He wondered if she was really doing all that just for him. He looked at her and recalled how brutally she had been tortured, and how the once strong-willed queen had become completely helpless. All of this had happened within only 4 months since graduation, and 3 months since the university had started. She had met a boy and started living with him not long ago. He then took out his phone to show his bank balance, explaining that there was 1.5 million yen in his account, which was all the savings he had accumulated since high school through part-time work and other efforts. He said he hadn't spent much, so the money had just piled up. He also showed his household budget app, which tracked money coming from his scholarship and part-time job, while his rent was covered by his parents. He had been able to save a lot, and with her living there, the only real increase was in the food bill. He said that as long as she planned to pay him back eventually, covering her wasn't a big deal, and she basically didn't need to work. When she said that the money was all his earnings, he told her to use it however she wanted. She still hesitated because she felt there was no reason for him to spend money on her and accused him of being a liar. Even though he insisted he wasn't lying, she kept shouting that he was. She said if she gained nothing from the arrangement, he had no reason to take her in and might just get caught up in the trouble she brought along. She argued that he had no reason to keep her there. He already suspected that her reason for looking for a job wasn't entirely genuine. It was partially true, but the other half of her motivation was to reclaim the dignity that had been taken from her. He told her there was a reason why he wanted her to stay there. She continued calling him a liar, and Yamamoto wondered if she disliked doing the household chores by herself. With school and work piling up, it helped to have someone else take care of those tasks. He was a man of precision. If he saw even a little dust on the TV, he would clean the whole room. If he found a water stain, he would scrub the entire area. Since he had school and a part-time job, he didn't have enough time to clean properly. She asked if he thought she should do all those chores. He denied it, saying cleaning was his responsibility, almost like a hobby and a purpose in life. If she did everything except the cleaning, he could focus on it 100%. That, he said, was more than enough reason to lend her the money. She called that a dumb reason. Yamamoto mentioned that the hamburger she made was really good, and he thanked her for it. Hayashi said she might be causing him problems, but he replied that was what living together meant. He told her she should just stay there without looking for a job. After a while, she said she would pack a bento for him to take to school. He wondered why she was doing that. She revealed she wanted to make lunch for both of them to cut down on food costs. Yamamoto thought that was definitely cheaper than eating at the cafeteria. She said there was no point in wasting time. Yamamoto appreciated that. After a while, she said she wanted to know what kind of food he liked. Hearing that, he also stopped. The next day, when Yamamoto woke up, he noticed that his body wasn't hurting thanks to the futon. He saw that it was 4:30 a.m., and he thought waking Hayashi would be rude. However, he needed to clean somewhere without making noise, so he decided to clean the bathroom. After about an hour, Hayashi came in, greeted him, and mentioned that she had thought he would still be asleep like the previous day, but he was already up early. She started brushing her teeth and asked if he always woke up that fast. He agreed, and she called him an early bird. He understood she was still half asleep because she had said similar words earlier. She then wondered if he had always been an early riser in high school as well, and he confirmed that he had. She repeated the teasing nickname Early Bird as she went to prepare breakfast, telling him to wait. Yamamoto went to watch the news and saw her carrying food. She told him she could carry her own plates. He insisted that since the plates were his and she was a guest, she shouldn't push herself. She replied that she wasn't pushing and called him annoying, telling him to just go sit down. Yamamoto was confused about why she was mad, but thanked her for the food. When he was about to change clothes, he asked her to leave the bathroom for a while. She told him to just change there. Trying to be polite, Yamamoto guessed she wouldn't want to see him in just his boxers, but she said that as a guy, she was used to seeing men undressed. Still, he said he would change in the bathroom. While putting clothes into the washing machine, he noticed her undergarments inside. Suddenly, she entered the room saying that lunch was ready. She wondered what he was doing that he suddenly screamed. He replied that he was just dressing up and only screamed because she had opened the door unexpectedly. She teased him, asking if he didn't like her seeing him naked. He wondered if she had a problem with it. She came closer and said she wouldn't have any problem showing him herself. He felt it was a strange kind of competition. He was then heading to class and thanked her for the lunch. She revealed that she had added something he liked, kin pira gobo. He thanked her and mentioned he had to work, so he would be back later. As he sighed, she asked what was wrong. He said he was just thinking about how annoying work was. She wondered if he was complaining and remarked that he always took everything so seriously. He agreed that he did, but added that even when it was annoying and the job paid poorly, he sometimes dreamed about it. She smiled and said that while he talked about his job, he was actually more eager to help her. He agreed, mentioning that her cooking was great, then left. As he walked, he noticed the rain had stopped and thought the hot weather might be returning. On the train, he continued to think about Hayashi's situation, which wasn't good and needed to be fixed, because time alone wouldn't solve it. He feared that if she were thrown back to her boyfriend again, he would become even more violent than before, possibly hurting her brutally. He realized that the longer it dragged on, the harder it would be to get the police involved, and when the police eventually did get involved, they would ask why they hadn't been contacted sooner. Yamamoto felt conflicted because he had already agreed not to go to the police, and if he brought it up again, she would just shut him down. He thought it might be better if he was the one to suggest it. He looked at Kasahara Akari, his old classmate and best friend of Hayashi, and thought she might be better suited to talk to Hayashi than he was. However, even though they attended the same university, he had never spoken to her. He wondered if Kasahara was currently in contact with Hayashi's boyfriend, since he couldn't just bring it up carelessly. He understood that Kasahara had been a top-tier student in high school and was even more popular with the boys than the strong-willed Hayashi, despite his appearance as a troublemaker. Kasahara had made girls cry more times than he could count, and had been out even more times than he could remember. Realizing he wouldn't be able to talk to her normally, he knew he had to come up with a new plan. Yamamoto went to eat lunch, while thinking about how Hayashi had really made the little octopus sausages with cuts in them. However, by nightfall, he still hadn't come up with a new plan and returned home. She welcomed him by saying she would start warming up their dinner and asked him to take a bath first. As he went to the bath, he noticed that she had already folded his clothes. After he came out, they both sat down to eat dinner. Yamamoto found that she was really spoiling him, which felt a bit much considering all he had done was come home. She explained that this was what she would normally do back at her old place. He thought to himself that she should stop bringing up her previous home, as he never knew how to respond to that. She was surprised that even though Yamamoto said he didn't want her to, she was still planning on cleaning up. But the place was already spotless to a freakish degree. Yamamoto wondered if she really knew how to handle those things, not in a negative way, but in a surprisingly impressive way. As they ate, Yamamoto suggested she should take it easy, pointing out that wasn't the reason she had come in the first place. She wondered why he was lecturing her in her own home, and said he could at least act grateful. He replied that he was already grateful, but he was doing it all so she could relax. She told him she wasn't tired, and just glared at him. Yamamoto then asked if she could do a little less around the house. She responded by asking if he had someone staying at his place who helped with chores, noting that most people would complain the chores weren't done well enough. Yamamoto explained that trusting someone else with chores meant accepting they wouldn't do it his way, and if they couldn't handle it, then one shouldn't delegate the task in the first place. She then asked if he secretly didn't like the food and was just pretending. He denied this, saying her food was really good, and added that he wanted her to take good care of herself, since she didn't even have to wait to eat with him. He replied that if she did that, she would just end up watching him eat later and get hungry again. He was confused but tried to understand what she meant. She said she still wasn't going to cut back on the chores because she was bored at home. He wondered if she was telling the truth, noting her phone was broken, and suggested she watch TV or do something else. She replied that the TV was really boring, so he took out an old tablet and gave it to her, telling her to take it since he had a new one and didn't use the old one anymore. He encouraged her not just to do chores, but to actually play as well. She blushed and thanked him. He also gave her the charger, saying she should use it. She agreed to use it after finishing the dishes, but Yamamoto told her he would do the dishes and that she should just go watch TV or something. While she was watching at her table, she said she was only borrowing the tablet for 10 minutes. Yamamoto wondered why she was giving it back so soon. She said she just wanted to lie down. Then Yamamoto discovered a lot of embarrassing videos still saved on the tablet and was so embarrassed that he deleted them all. Later, Hayashi called him and asked if he had the makeout drive after all. He was really embarrassed and asked her not to tease him, but she laughed a lot and asked what type of girls he liked. When he asked if she really thought he would tell her that, the conversation ended there.